In a quiet little room, far from the noise of the outside world, a small candle stood on a wooden table. Its wax was smooth and pale, its wick still unlit. Every day, the candle looked across the table and saw the tall, polished mirror leaning proudly against the wall. The mirror was grand, catching the sunlight during the day and scattering it across the room in dazzling patterns. The candle sighed softly, almost as if it could speak. "What good am I?" it thought. When the sun shines, the mirror glows brilliantly. When the moonlight enters, the mirror reflects its silver beauty. But me? I am nothing but a stick of wax. Small, weak, and ordinary. The candle began to shrink inside itself, not from flame, but from doubt. Each day it compared its still body to the mirror's glittering presence. The candle believed it would never matter, that its life would pass without meaning. One evening, as the last rays of sun touched the mirror's surface, the candle whispered to itself, "I wish I could shine like that. I wish I could light up the room the way the mirror does. But I am just too small." The mirror, hearing the faint words, chuckled with a proud tone. "Oh little candle," it said, "you could never outshine me. Look at how I sparkle. Look at how everyone admires my glow. You may try, but you will never compare." The candle drooped even more. Its heart, if it had one, would have sunk deep with sadness. For in that moment, it believed the mirror was right. After all, what chance does a fragile wick have against a shining surface that reflects the whole world? But what the candle did not yet understand was that true brightness does not come from comparison. Its power was waiting, quietly hidden, inside its wick. A flame, once given, could chase away the darkest shadows. But trapped in self-doubt, the candle could not see the light it already carried within. And so, in silence, the little candle stood, believing it was worthless, never realizing that its greatest gift was still to come. The mirror stood tall against the wall, gleaming with a polished shine that caught every glimmer of light that entered the room. When the sun poured through the window, the mirror exploded with brilliance, scattering beams of light onto the ceiling and floor. When the moon peeked through the curtains, the mirror caught its silver glow and reflected it proudly across the darkened space. Every moment, the mirror admired itself. "Look at me," it thought. "I take the light of the sun, the glow of the moon, and I turn it into beauty. I brighten the room more than anything else could. I am the reason this place feels alive." The mirror glanced at the small candle sitting silently on the table. With a smirk in its voice, it said, "Poor little candle, look at you. You sit there day after day, dull and silent, while I dazzle the world. People look into me and see their faces, they admire themselves because of me. What do they see in you? Just wax that will melt away and vanish." The candle shifted slightly, its wax trembling at the harsh words, but it stayed quiet. The mirror chuckled to itself, proud and certain. "I am not like you, little one. I do not waste away. I do not depend on others. I shine, I reflect, I glow. I am strong, beautiful, and eternal." All day long, the mirror bathed in pride. When the sunlight moved across its surface, it preened, admiring how golden the rays looked upon it. When evening fell, it whispered to the rising moon, "See how I carry your light across the room? Without me, the world would miss your beauty." The mirror believed it was the master of brightness, the keeper of light. To it, the candle was nothing more than a decoration, something fragile and pitiful. What the mirror did not realize was this: its brilliance was never its own. Every sparkle, every glow, every glimmer, it all came from a light beyond itself. Without the sun, without the moon, the mirror would be nothing but a cold, empty surface of glass. But in its pride, the mirror could not see the truth. It thought it was the source of light, when in reality, it was only a reflection. As the day slipped away, the golden sun sank behind the horizon. Its last rays stretched across the room, lingering on the polished surface of the mirror. For one final moment, the mirror shone brightly, scattering shards of light across the walls. It stood tall, proud, and satisfied. But slowly, the light began to fade. The sun was gone. The sky turned from orange to purple, then to deep blue, and at last, black. The room was swallowed by shadows. The window no longer poured brightness inside, instead, it became a square of darkness. The mirror tried to catch something, anything, but the beams were gone. It waited for the moon to rise, eager to show off its silver glow. Yet, that night the clouds rolled in, thick and heavy, hiding the moon and every star. The mirror strained in silence. Its once dazzling surface grew dull, empty, and lifeless. For the first time, it felt the weight of the dark pressing in around it. The proud gleam it had boasted of all day was nowhere to be found. It looked across the room at the small candle. The candle sat quietly on the table, just as it always had, but now its outline was barely visible. The mirror felt an uncomfortable chill, a whisper of fear. "Why is it so dark? Why can't I shine?" the mirror muttered to itself. It tried to summon the glow it thought belonged to it, but nothing happened. Its polished glass reflected only blackness. The mirror had always believed it was the master of light, but now, without the sun or moon, it was nothing more than a shadow among shadows. The silence grew heavy. The room felt colder, lonelier. The mirror remembered its proud words to the candle, how it had mocked it, how it had boasted of its brilliance. But now, in the deep stillness of night, those words seemed hollow. The mirror shifted uncomfortably, realizing for the first time that it was powerless. It could not create light. It could not drive away the darkness. It could only wait, helpless, for a source of brightness it no longer had. And in that long, suffocating night, the proud mirror faced a truth it had never considered: without light, it was nothing at all. The room was wrapped in heavy darkness, silence pressing against the walls. The mirror stood useless, its proud surface swallowed by shadow. The air felt still, almost lifeless. Then, a gentle sound broke the quiet: a match being struck. A spark flared, small but bright, and in that instant, a tiny flame danced to life. It touched the candle's wick, and the little candle awoke. Slowly, carefully, its flame steadied, glowing with warmth. The darkness shrank back. The room, once drowned in shadow, began to soften with a golden glow. The candle's light was not as powerful as the sun, nor as coldly silver as the moon, but it was alive. It flickered, it moved, it breathed. The candle felt warmth surge through its tiny body. For so long, it had doubted itself, believing it had no purpose, no worth. But now, as the flame rose and spread light across the room, the candle realized something extraordinary: it carried fire in its heart. And with that fire, it could push back the darkness. The mirror, watching in silence, was stunned. For hours it had stood powerless, reflecting nothing but emptiness. Yet now, in the candle's gentle glow, its surface came alive again. The glass shimmered, the silver caught the flame, and the mirror began to shine once more. The candle's flame danced happily, filling the room with light and comfort. Shadows no longer owned the space, instead, they swayed softly in the rhythm of the glow. The warmth spread across the wooden table, up the walls, and into the very air. For the first time, the candle did not envy the mirror. It did not look at its own small size or its melting wax. It did not compare itself to anything. It simply burned, giving all it had. And in that giving, it discovered the truth of its purpose. The candle whispered quietly, as if speaking to itself, "I was never meant to be as big as the sun or as grand as the moon. I was meant to shine here, now, in this room, for whoever needs light." And in the hush of the night, the little flame became a beacon of hope. The mirror stared in awe at the tiny candle's flame. For hours, it had been wrapped in emptiness, powerless, ashamed in silence. Now, with just a flicker of fire, the candle had changed everything. The room was alive again. Shadows bent back, corners softened, and warmth filled the air. The mirror caught the glow, reflecting it across the walls. It shimmered once more, its surface glistening with brightness. But this time, the feeling was different. The mirror did not feel pride. Instead, it felt a sting of humility. How strange, the mirror thought, I spent so long mocking the candle, calling it weak, fragile, useless. Yet here I am, shining again only because of its flame. The mirror remembered its boastful words, how it had claimed to be the master of light, how it had looked down on the little candle. But the truth was now unavoidable, it had never owned the light it reflected. The mirror had only borrowed brightness from others, the sun, the moon, and now, the candle. The candle's flame flickered gently, unaware of the thoughts racing through the mirror's mind. It did not boast, it did not laugh. It simply continued to burn, pouring its small but steady light into the room. The mirror felt a rush of realization. I shine only when others give me their light. Alone, I am nothing but glass. I depend on them, yet I acted as though I was greater. For the first time, the mirror looked at the candle with respect. It saw not a stick of melting wax, but a source of power, a flame that could drive away darkness and give meaning to everything around it. The mirror lowered its proud thoughts and spoke softly, its tone different from before. Little candle, I see now. You are the giver, and I am only the receiver. Without you, I am empty. With you, I can shine. Forgive me for my pride. The candle's flame flickered, as if smiling. It did not hold anger, only warmth. And in that moment, the mirror learned humility, realizing its true beauty was not in itself, but in reflecting the light it was given. The room glowed softly, the little candle burning with steady courage, the mirror gleaming with reflected light. For the first time, there was no pride, no envy, no comparison, only harmony. The flame shone, the mirror reflected, and together they created a brightness far greater than either could alone. The candle looked at the mirror and whispered gently, I was once ashamed of being small. I thought my light would never matter. But now I see even a single flame can fill the dark. And with you, my light reaches farther than I could have imagined. The mirror bowed its shining surface, humbled by the truth. And I once believed I was the master of brightness, it admitted softly. But I am only a surface without light to hold. You give me purpose, little candle. You give me life. The two stood in silence for a moment, their glow mingling in the stillness of the room. The candle flickered, not with doubt this time, but with joy. The mirror gleamed, not with pride, but with gratitude. Outside, the night pressed against the window, heavy and unyielding. But inside, the small flame and the shining reflection pushed it back. The darkness could not overcome them, not as long as they stood together. The candle understood something deep that night, its worth was never in being greater than the mirror, nor in imitating the sun or the moon. Its worth was in being itself small, warm, and faithful. The mirror, too, found peace in its role. It did not need to be the source. Its beauty was in helping light reach places it could not go on its own. Together they discovered the truth, greatness does not always mean standing alone, but standing together, each giving what the other cannot. And so the candle burned without fear of being small, and the mirror reflected without shame of being dependent. Each found value not in competition, but in unity. That night, the little room became a world of its own, lit not by the sun nor the moon, but by the harmony of two unlikely companions, a flame that gave, and a mirror that received. In their togetherness, darkness lost.